Oh, well, good evening, everyone. It's a wonderful Saturday night. If you could see the faces of my two cohorts here, I did a countdown and made a good suggestion and gesture right beforehand that got Pat in a great mental state right there. It was spectacular. It was great. It was awesome. I do a good job with surprises sometimes. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we're on YouTube again tonight, guys, because the good
Yay.
old FB doesn't is giving us a big FU, so FU back to the FB.
Well, we could give it a
Uh,
big F bomb. Yes, a
yeah,
big F
yeah.
bomb.
And to let's get this started because tomorrow is Father's Day. So whoever's watching that, happy
Yeah.
Father's Day early to those folks.
Happy Father's Day to you, Joe.
Oh, happy Father's Day to you too, Jan. It's gonna be a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll see.
Happy Uncle's Day. That's as close as we know you get. There's nothing wrong with being a cool uncle. You can be a cool uncle. They can call you Pap.
National Aunt and Uncle's Day isn't until July 26th.
Yeah, well, I'm giving it to you
Wow.
early. I'll give it to you early, Pat.
We were trying to be Jeremy was trying to be give
Inclusive.
you a nice gesture and be kind to you, and you just shit out of him for it.
Make you
Yes,
part of the fam.
and in doing so, you completely denigrated the actual Uncle's Day.
I'll
Wow.
denigrate something.
Someone needs to go to a timeout, I think.
Yes.
Nah,
So I discovered new
nah,
grays in my hair.
nah.
It's very sad. I have a gray in my eyebrow now. Found gray in my chest hair. Like, God, it's getting gray everywhere.
You're slacking behind me. Do you know where I have this you're getting old when you have hair growing in spots where it never grew before. Right here on this side of my nose. Today, I was like, why the fuck is my nose itching? I'm scratching my nose all day. I look in the mirror when I get home, and there's one single white hair coming out of the side here, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right by your glasses.
I'm like, are you shitting me right now? I have a random hair, like short, but still. As I got the shaver out, boop, peace out, Girl Scout. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, you
I
should
was
pluck
like,
that bad boy.
God damn, fucking getting old. It's just so random. Like, where the fuck is this hair coming from? Jesus Christ. You know, and Pat over here still uses what's that stuff? That men's hair dye called? Just for Men. Pat's just using Just for Men right now because he has no grays. I don't know where he's hiding them at. He's just for many of them shits. I don't believe that he has no fucking gray hairs.
Okay, a couple of things. One, I do have gray hairs. Two, because of the way I get my hair
In your
cut,
ball sack? What? Where?
because of the way I get my hair cut, and because
Grass crack? Go ahead.
the color of my hair, they kind of tend to blend in, and sometimes I don't even really realize they're gray unless I look very closely at them. Three, and you're talking about using like hair dye or just for men or anything like that. I don't think they have a color that would really match up with my hair color since my hair color is a little hard to define. It's like, darker than blonde, but like
Darth Pat, you're
close
hard to
brown.
define, buddy, and that's what makes you special.
And yes, I wear the red and
You
white
meaty
striped
beady big
shirt.
bouncy.
I wear the red and white striped shirt and cap and go hiding in crowds of people all the time. Um, and also,
Likes to wear his Waldo.
when you talk about like using hair dye or just for men or anything like that, if they did make something in a color that if I used it, it would still look natural or whatever like this. Dude, I have fucking patience to do that shit. You think I'm gonna fucking stand over a sink and be going like trying to like color in
They got
fucking
stuff you
hair
can
dye?
wash into your hair now.
Yeah, bro. They have the
I don't
wash-in stuff.
care. I don't have time for that.
Shampoo that shit.
I wake up with enough time to maybe take a regular shower in the morning before I got to go to the office, let alone fucking do
Well,
shit like that. For
Pat's work
Christ's sake.
employees, work colleagues, you just heard Pat doesn't shower very often.
That's not what I said at all.
Every Wednesday.
That is not
Once a
what I
week.
said. That is not what I said. Words are important. Phrasing is important, as we'll get to later. But you are completely misrepresenting what I said. You are a liar. You are a misleader. You are a scumbag. You are a stupid head.
So
So
I
we know
tried
every
I tried
Wednesday.
Just for Men one time. One time I tried it. I was like, I gotta see what my facial hair will look like if it all came in the same color. Because my facial hair has never come in all the same color. I've had a lot of blonde in my facial hair, and it's sparse to begin with. But then when it's different colors, you can't even tell when it's in or not. But I did it, and because this stuff does not grow in very well at all. It grows in more now than it did when I tried it. But I had the Johnny Depp Pirates of the Caribbean style like mustache beard. It was not a good look. Not on me
I
at
used to
least.
rock that. That was cool. All right.
But I remember I went into work that day with that, that color, that shaved that way and the coloring in. And I'll never forget my wife, who I was just dating at the time. She's like, "What the hell did you do to your face?" I was like, "Don't worry, I'm shaving it off tomorrow."
She's like, I don't know if I like that or not, buddy. No.
Did she think that you had glued a live animal to your face?
No.
Okay.
I don't-
At least you didn't have that
Interesting.
problem. Good.
As a joke for my kids, and my daughter took a picture of this, of course. I said to my kids, I said, "You want to see how much facial hair Daddy actually has?" Because they're always like, "You barely have any facial hair." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. You want to see how much I really do had?" So I went up and got my daughter's mascara for her eyelashes, and I started painting my face with that, and I came down as a joke for them. They're like, "Oh my God, Dad!"
You let your daughter wear mascara already?
Only for cheer. That's the only time she wears it, and maybe like a banquet. Something like that, but for banquets and stuff like that, she puts on very little. She does very light coating. She's very good with that stuff, which makes me happy because I'm a big fan of kids, girls or men, if you want to wear makeup, going light on that stuff. I don't think it's necessary to doll yourself up and look like you got a freaking mask on. But that's just a personal preference.
Okay. You went the mascara route, and I was like,
It was funny. It looked bad. It looked really funny. Just to say, I wonder if I have a picture of that. I should show you
oh
guys
my
how bad
God.
that looked. Like I said, I did it for fun. I don't know if my daughter sent me that picture or not.
Oy vey. He used the mascara.
Let me check my messages. Maybe she sent it in a
I
message.
keep on hearing all this noise outside, and I can't figure out if it's thunder or not.
Oh, there's fireworks going on around here.
Fireworks.
That might also be what I'm hearing then too, because it's like it sounds too far away, but also too frequent to be thunder. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Yes, I do.
normally there's spacing between thunderclaps, and like the volume wouldn't be the same. But
Okay.
what I'm hearing is, it must be fireworks. Like I don't know where, and you and I aren't that close to each other, so.
Yeah, there's an pig
No,
roast
you
around
guys
here.
are a bit far away.
Well, I mean, we're not completely far away, but we're not like right next to each other either.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, no, she didn't ever send me that picture, but she has it. I'll have to get that for you guys for next week. Like I said, it was pretty funny.
Yes, you do. I so want to see that shit now. Like, I want to see that.
Be like, oh, Jeremy does have facial hair. It's just
I am just
I
bamboozled by that one.
what facial hair I do have, Joe. Like mine's probably as gray as yours is right now. Like what
Gotcha.
comes in, like it's that
See,
gray.
the way you shave your, well, don't really shave your head, but the way you have your hair and your facial hair, we'll never know how old you really are. We'll just really have to count the wrinkles on your head at some point or your forehead. That's the only way we're gonna know how old you are.
I know. It's
Count the
in
wrinkles
my
on its head like the rings on a tree.
Well, yeah, because like if I let my hair grow in, I have a lot of gray on in my hair now too. Like I'm definitely more gray than my dad was at this age.
Yeah.
So
No. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's not I can't hide it, I might do,
Yeah,
I might do, at the end of the month, well, a couple like 2 weeks, we'll be going down to Florida for North American finals for esports.
Okay,
And
nice.
so my son's Overwatch team qualified for finals, and one of the Fortnite teams that I coach qualified for finals. So we're
Nice.
going down. It's gonna be fun. But I might do just for men for my beard and just do the sides and kind of leave the white in the middle, kind of type of thing, like a Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pup. Yeah, you brother.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, at the end of the month, the last weekend, we're going down Thursday the 27th, and we'll be back July 1st. So it's gonna
Nice.
be a fun time. I didn't really, it's one of the things I knew it could happen, but it might not happen. So it's fun. It did happen. So his team went qualified, my team qualified. So it's gonna be a good time.
Nice.
But dude, the prices to go anywhere are fucking astronomical.
You
So,
guys would be better off driving down there. Are you driving?
so yes, we're driving,
Good.
but I was like, okay, we're leaving at like 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. So it's about 8.5 to 9 hour drive, right,
Yeah, it's
for
not
us.
terrible.
So it's not bad. It's kind of like driving to PA, but just like an extra hour.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. The thing about it is like I went and looked. I haven't been to Universal, never been. So I'm like, let's see how much tickets cost. Because my
I think it's like
mother-in-law's
120 or something like that or more.
my mother-in-law's flying down on the 23rd and she's going with us. So for 4 tickets, and this is on Universal's website and through my two work, discount places, over $600 for 4 tickets.
Sheesh.
Disney um to try to go to the one for with Star Wars Galaxy, almost $800
Yeah,
was it.
the single day tickets are. I mean,
Yeah.
even the multi day tickets are ridiculous now.
So I'm like, okay. So the only thing what we're going to do is we're going to go to SeaWorld because it costs me $56 a ticket for SeaWorld.
And SeaWorld's awesome. I've been there.
And
SeaWorld's great.
I was like,
I haven't been there in a long time.
I haven't been to SeaWorld since I was 6 years old. And I'm like, oh, they have roller coasters now? Oh,
Hmm.
cool.
The
And there's
Kraken was
some
awesome when I went on it.
and there's some new roller coaster that's supposed to be opening up this month. Hopefully it's open by the time we get down there. So I'm like, all right, SeaWorld. It $242 for 4 tickets compared to all the other ones. I'm like, that works.
Dude, and the animal shows are freaking awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I was like, all right. So we got tickets. So,
The ones that they still allow.
Yeah, the
so
ones they still allow. I don't know what they all have taken out.
Yeah, I don't
That
remember
was
either.
scary looking,
uh-oh.
what I just saw on the Cody AJ match.
Oh
Was
boy.
it when somebody went through a table?
No,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
no, it was the double out the ring thing.
Trying to remember that spot. I do have to go back and rewatch one match because of something that I think I missed.
So yeah, no, I don't know what shows they've canceled. I know when we went down, they had the seals. It was the seals and sea otters. They had those two like together.
Okay.
They had the whale show, which was they had Shamu. That's at least that's what they called the whale. I don't know if it was the original Shamu. Probably not.
I don't think it
Uh,
was the original, probably because the original Shamu was like I think back in the 80s or 90s. So
um, what else did they have? They had dolphins. They had the dolphin show,
the
and
one
I
time
think
I
we saw
remember,
one other show, and I can't remember what it was though.
yeah, the one time I remember going to SeaWorld in 1990, the only things that I remember about it, because 1990 I was 9 years old, the only things that I remember about it were the Shamu show, like the orca show, killer whale show, whatever you want to call it. Um, okay, there is a very loud noise outside my window. I have no fucking clue what it is. I don't think it's fireworks at this point. All right, sorry. Anyway, the other thing I remember doing is there was like a dolphin like tank, I guess you could say, where you could like feed the dolphins.
Oh,
And you kind of like dangle like a small fish over, and then like they come out and they'd be
Oh,
like
that's interesting.
they come out and they would make their their noises. I
Their
couldn't.
noise, yeah.
I can't really. I can't
Can
really
you
do
try and
that.
do that again? That was pretty
Yeah,
pretty good.
I can't really do that imitation or anything. But
Okay, okay,
then,
okay, okay.
right. Well, yeah. But the whole point then too was so that like you could like kind of like reach in and touch them then, and I did do that, and oh my god, that was like the weirdest sensation I'd ever had in my life at that point because think
Reach out and touch me.
think of like what a wet inner tube feels like.
Okay.
That's the only thing that comes even close to the same thing that what the dolphins like skin or whatever you want to call it feels like. It's just like
Yeah, it's not like touching a normal fish like out of the streamer like that
right.
you just caught on a
It
line.
was like it was so smooth, but it was like again, there's it's like really hard to like give like an equivalent of something that you might touch even every once in a great while normally. So yeah, it was very strange. Yeah, very very weird. So yeah, like I said, the one and only time I was not the one and only time, the last time I was at SeaWorld in Orlando, 1990. That was far before they had any of the roller coasters or anything like that. It was just about seeing the animals and everything. And of course, like I said, that was long before the controversies over the treatment of the animals. So
Yeah, I think
Gotcha.
when we were down, I think it was around like between 98 and 2000, somewhere in there. That is when I was to SeaWorld. So they had Kraken was a really good roller coaster. They had still had the log flume style ride, which I made the mistake of going on that, and I say mistake because I was not wearing the appropriate attire to walk around wet in. So needless to say, I was not very comfortable after I got wet.
I was gonna say, I think I've always heard that about the log flume ride at SeaWorld that you don't get wet.
Yeah, you definitely get wet. Like most log flumes, you're like, "Oh, I got sprinkled! Yay, it was so fun!" And then you
Right.
go on to the bridge to get wet. No, you get soaked in the flume. Like that one was a in the flume soaker.
Well, I will wear my hybrid shorts that day.
Yeah, wear
So
something quick drying.
yes, yes, I will do so. That's what I'll be doing. 100%. Yeah. So overall, look forward to go. We
Yeah,
have like
dude.
we have a check-in time that has to be done. Like I think it's from like 10 to 5 on Friday, but we're gonna get there at check-in time, check in, get our jerseys, take them back to the hotel, and then drive over to SeaWorld, which I think is like a 10-minute drive from where our hotel is. So it's fine.
Now, is it going to be like tournament style where you're going to
Yes.
be okay?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like win and proceed.
Yeah, yeah. So for Nico, and it's at Full Sail University.
Nice. That's
There's
cool.
there's two big places.
I think I
Ooh,
heard
maybe you
about
can go. Maybe you can head over to the NXT facility at Full Sail there.
Could probably. I was thinking of driving to Clearwater to the Hocus Beach shop, and it's like a 2-hour drive to Clearwater. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
yeah, go to Hogan's Beach Shop and talk conspiracies with the guy that owns or runs the
Yeah,
place.
I know, right? But so yeah, it's gonna be streamed on YouTube and Twitch. So I'll send you guys the link
Yeah.
in
Please.
case
Yeah.
you're for it. But yeah, it's tournament style. So basically for Nico, it's Overwatch, it's double elimination. So it's kind of a double elimination format. Games Saturday and like the final rounds, semifinals and finals, I think are on Sunday. And then for Fortnite, it's 6 total games. We play 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday, and whatnot. So, and there's
Yeah.
like we have we have teams, um, we have teams in Valorant, we have teams, yeah, I think it's just Valorant, Fortnite, and Overwatch are the 3 main games we have. But there's, they have Rocket League, and whatnot too, and Apex Legends. That's sorry, we have a team. We have 2 teams in Apex Legends. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a cool experience. I'm gonna take pictures, a couple videos, and I'll post them on Facebook throughout the day and Instagram on Saturday and Sunday. So
Yeah.
um, it'll be
Overwatch
a
is
good time.
cool. Like I've tried. I've like out of all three, like out of between Fortnite, Overwatch, and Apex Legends, Fortnite is definitely the more user friendly of the games, being able to play and like pick up and play kind of games. Overwatch, I had I did okay with that, but you don't get it's hard because you don't get grouped with people. Like you never know who you're going to get grouped with
Yeah.
unless you're going on with a group of people that you
Yep.
are. So it's like some people are really good, like really good, and you go against those people who are like, oh man, I can't even freaking touch them.
I know. I know.
And the same thing with Apex Legends, but Apex Legends is probably the hardest to pick up and play, like overall as far as out of those type of first person shooter games,
Yeah, Apex is
at
one of those
least in my opinion.
games where each character has a specific trait, and when you're in a duo or a trio with random people, if it's kind of funny because there are characters in that game that if you group them up, their skill sets play off of each other and they work well together. And there's somewhere like if you're character A, definitely don't pick character B if your teammates using A because your play styles like the their characteristics, their style and their special abilities, I should say,
Hmm.
don't work well together. It's still a first person shooter. It's like shoot them up and shoot to kill. But that game is a little bit where the hitbox is more. You got to be more accurate in that game. Where some of the like Fortnite's a little more forgiving per se, with it. But yeah, Apex is kind of like you got to be accurate. And Valorant, I've played Valorant. That's currently it's PC only, but as of actually yesterday, they're doing a beta on PlayStation and the new Xbox, PlayStation 5 and Xbox X and S, where you can play in console. And that is a game that you have to be super accurate. There's like zero give with the hitbox. Like if you're not accurate, you're SOL. That's a game of really a game of skill.
Yeah, and for me, I just don't understand. Like, I should say I don't understand. I am so surprised at how accurate some people are with those games. Like, it makes you wonder if they have cheat codes or using, special types of.
The majority of them are mouse and keyboard players. So it's the accuracy with your hand and your mouse. Wherever your mouse goes, that's where the crosshair goes. So, and people always have this argument because, who's more accurate, mouse and keyboard players or controller players? And, mouse and keyboard players always bitch about, controller players have aim assist because on a controller, you're using the joysticks. And yeah, it's not as accurate. There's dead spots, and you gotta like finagle those so you don't have that. And there's stick drift, and
Yeah,
that's
stick
why
drift's the biggest one. That's a
and
problem.
you got to change your sensitivity for faster or slower and all that jazz. There's a little bit more that goes in. You sensitivity too for control mouse and keyboards for the mouse per se, but it's more. I think it's playing both on both games. I feel like the setup is more complicated for the controller than it is for the mouse and keyboard.
Hmm.
So it's. I still think everyone wants to argue. Oh, you have aim assist. Aim assist works a little bit, but it doesn't give you that much of an advantage because if that was case, all the controller players will be destroying the mouse and keyboard. It's just not the case
No,
because
I
you
feel
could
like mouse
you
and
could
keyboard
still
still.
suck. You could suck, and the aim assist is not going to help you that much. Believe me.
No, yeah, because I've used aim assist. I have, and I'm one of those people. I have no idea how to set up my controller. Like I looked at tutorials and stuff like that, so I could be a little bit more abled in like playing it on PlayStation, and didn't help. Like I'm still
Yeah,
like bah, dead.
and it's weird. Like I can play any first-person shooter on mouse and keyboard with the exception of Fortnite. For whatever reason, I can't do it on mouse and keyboard for Fortnite. It doesn't jive with me. I don't know why. I just can't get it to work the way I want it to. But
And it's
some
so much, and it's so funny how that particular game has grown the way that it's grown. Like I remember my nephew playing that when it first came out, like first dropped, and I don't know if it was a 100 person map when that started, if that was always how it was, 100
mm,
person,
I think so.
but
Yeah.
I remember him dropping in with like a couple people, and it was really just a couple guns, and you could build, and the build was very, I don't want to say archaic, but not like it is now. It
Yeah.
was like you were literally building a fort out of wood, like it was a wood fort. That was your only option, was wood. And you didn't
Yeah.
have the ability to edit like you do now. It was you could build walls and a roof.
Yeah. I mean, they changed it a lot, and it's, kudos to all the kids who keep playing it. I think the biggest thing, um, and honestly, it grew in popularity too when, it got more other gamers involved in Fortnite when they offered the zero build option.
Oh my
Because
God, that's so
there's
much better.
because there was a lot of people who tried it and just didn't like the build concept. Just it wasn't their thing, and they didn't play it because of it. When they brought zero build in, you can see, look at the numbers daily and weekly and monthly and by year. They have an increase in players, and there's a ton of people who play zero build because it's just more their style. The build isn't for them. And that's why I think they should come out with some tournaments that are zero build, just besides the cash cups and what they offer, like, true FNCS tournaments like they do now. Because the
Yeah.
global tournament is in September in Texas. Um, and I think the other thing too for Fortnite, Epic did a good thing about, making deals with groups. You know what I mean? Like they had like a little deal with DC, and they had Superman, and they had a thing with Hasbro where you get Snake Eyes. I wish I was playing at that time. I wanted Snake Eyes and Superman. Um, but like their collaborations, they
Hmm.
started they
Oh
did
yeah, with
it
all the
like
different skins and stuff.
they
Yeah, it's
they did
crazy.
it small, and they kind of like as that grew in popularity, they were able to branch out and do more and more, and just they have Metallica now. Metallica's in the game. So it's like,
Yeah, I feel like my nephews were showing me the new season, and I feel like they went away from guns like
so
for a
what
season or something like that. There's something that they did that's like made it more like hand to hand combat uh
it's just
this
weapon. The
season.
guns are still in there, but they've added like this season they have some cars, and you can modify the cars. It's like playing Twisted Metal back in the day, and they have like these nitro fists and stuff like that. So they've added some things where, the guns are still in there, but the other thing they did is they added a Lego land in there, and then
Yeah, I
they
saw that Legoland's cool.
they added like the rocket racing. So if you, because they own Rocket League, so if you have
Yeah.
cars, certain cars in Rocket League, you play Rocket Racing, it kind of transfers over and vice versa. And then they have the you know, what was that, Guitar Hero? They have like a festival where you can download songs, and your character goes in and he plays the drums or the guitar or the bass or is a singer, and you're on your keyboard, and you got to do the things like in Guitar Hero on your keyboard, and you get and there's like all kinds of stuff. And that's what I'm saying. They just did a collab with Metallica. Metallica's in the game now as playable characters, and their songs are in there to do for the festival stuff. So yeah, they've definitely expanded. So, kudos to them. That game's like, that's why that game I think has become more popular than some of the other ones, even Call of Duty.
Yeah.
For
Well,
you know,
you got to figure out how are you going to keep people interested in playing your game? Like
yep.
what is going to keep people interested in playing a first person shooter? You've got to have a variety of things. You got to switch things up every once in a while. And they've been very, very good out of all the online shooters that are available. They've been very, very good at keeping people interested with different things, whether it's a new skin that they're putting out, whether it's a new weapon, a new mode of play. There's all those created like um, creator builds now as far as like game modes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's like infinite, it feels like infinite. I know it's not really infinite, but there are just ridiculous number of things to choose from to do on there besides just go in and
The
play,
normal stuff.
yeah, normal stuff. So, and that's one thing my son loves. Like he's not, because he's only 7, he's not very good at the shooting part. Like he gets frustrated because his, I mean, he'd rather be outside playing sports that way. But when he tries to play, he doesn't do so good at the shooting, and because his fingers aren't as quick, to be able to do it.
Not yet, at
So
least.
he'll go he'll play like the mazes where you gotta go through the 100 different challenges in a maze. So he'll go do stuff like that, or
All
he'll
the
go shoot
creative
zombies,
maps.
stuff that doesn't shoot him back. Yeah, he
There's all
does.
the creative maps. There's a lot of kids who
Yeah,
do that too.
yeah,
There's a lot of options. It's fun.
yeah.
That's definitely fun.
Pat, do you have any Fortnite things that you would like to talk about?
No.
It's
So
all good.
I'm a zero build person. If I'm gonna play, I play zero build. I hate build.
Yeah, and build is challenging too because a lot of people, even like a lot of popular streamers and pro players, when you're in build mode, if your ping isn't close to zero, you're at a disadvantage automatically. Because there's like people who have zero ping and you have like a 30 ping, you're gonna lose. It's gonna be hard for you to win because their edits are gonna flip faster and you're not gonna there's like a delay. So you're really like, oh my God, how did I got killed? And on his screen it's perfect. It's you
I don't
know,
even know how you get to a zero ping. Like that's crazy.
that's basically is just your internet provider, to be honest. It's how much whatever internet you're getting and how you have it set up. So
All
you
right,
got to
this
pay a
first
little
match is
extra moolah.
extremely long.
It's still first match is still going on.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Hey, remember they only do 5 matches in these 3 hour shows anymore. So
This was
even though
five.
they spend a lot of time on fucking entrances and preview packages.
So this was 3 hour pay-per-view for five fucking matches.
Yeah, same as the French show, I believe.
Uh,
I don't know about the Blood Money show because I wouldn't watch that.
Yeah, that was about 3 hours too.
Somebody
Ooh,
on the
excuse
somebody
me.
on the Cage Side Seat live forum this afternoon was trying to say, "Oh, they're pretty good now," and I said, "That's okay. I won't fucking watch them."
No. Yeah, that's a moral thing for you.
It is.
You have a moral compass? What?
Some people have that. Not everybody we know has a moral compass.
No, no.
Oh
Nope.
man. So what's been going on in the world of baseball, Pat? Fill us in. Fill the world in on
Oh,
baseball. Oh, it's been going
yeah,
that well.
the
Okay.
Yankees are doing fine for the most part, though they're going to lose tonight.
They're the first team to hit 50 wins, so I think they're okay.
Yeah, they're like I said, they're doing pretty
Fucking
fine.
Yankee fans.
Phillies lost to the Orioles today. Thanks.
You
And
should say thanks.
yeah, I was saying that to Jeremy because
You're
Some
welcome. Glad
sarcasm.
I could help.
Thanks.
because I'm not. Well, yeah, this is just this
Well,
kind
they
of
lost to Boston too recently, too, I saw.
yeah. Well, this is the thing because I think the Yankees and the Phillies have the best record in each league right now. But like one of my Yankee friends said earlier today, and this was a stat that I found fairly interesting.
Oh.
Coming into today, the Yankees were 20-11 against teams with a winning record, and the Phillies are 13-6. So the Yankees have more wins against teams with winning records than the Phillies have games played against teams with winning records. So the Phillies haven't played a lot of tough teams so far, is basically what we're saying. But the National League right now is also, if you look at the standings, it's very soft in the middle in the sense that coming into today, yeah, the Phillies are really good, the Dodgers are really good, the Brewers are pretty good. And then you have the Braves who have been scuffling a little, but are still 7 games over 500. Then there's a big drop off to a bunch of teams that are within a couple games of 500, basically.
Are the Mets one of those teams? Or are they barely?
Well, yes, barely though. So if like the playoffs were to start today, after the Braves, the next two wildcard teams would be the Padres, who are 1 game over 500, and the Cardinals, who are 500. Then you get within 3 games of the Cardinals for that last wild card spot. You have the Reds, Diamondbacks, Giants, Nationals, Pirates, Cubs, and Mets in that order. So you've got 7 teams within 3 games of the last playoff spot. So there's a lot of softness right now in the National League. There's a soft middle, as it were. So
Soft middle.
yeah. So, but things like that usually tend to even out as the season keeps going, in the sense that the teams that are good continue to play well, and the teams that aren't good start to falter and fall apart, like a certain team in Chicago, right, Joe?
Yep. They won today.
I know,
Their
but
bullpen sucks. Their bullpen has been. Listen, they had a 4-1 lead the other day, and they gave up, I don't know, like 8 fucking runs in 2 innings or some shit like that. Their bullpen has just been horrendous. Their starting pitching has been good. Their bullpen bad, just giving up fucking leads left and right. It's horrendous. That's why they're fucking been shitty lately. They won
yeah,
today because Shota's awesome.
yeah. They a month ago the Cubs were 6 games over 500. Now they're 4 games under. One out,
Yep.
well, 3 games under, I guess now. So they won today, but it's a bad turnaround.
Bad bullpens. Bad bullpen. And their hitting been streaky too, but it is what it is.
Yeah, when I caught the end of a Phillies game, my son had a birthday party to go to, and it was at a like a climb and zip line place that was recently built in Easton.
Okay.
And this is interesting. At the Solo showed up at the end of a match. Weird. I don't know the point of this, but anyways, so they had the Phillies game on, and the Phillies lost to the Mets. It was very hard to watch because the Mets, there was way too many Mets fans at Philly. Like, that's what I don't like to see, is all the Mets fans coming to Philly. Like,
You should have seen all the Dodgers fans in Yankee Stadium last weekend.
ugh.
Yeah, that was fucking atrocious.
Can't do nothing about it.
Still not as bad as all the Nebraska fans I saw in Notre Dame Stadium 24 years ago, but still.
I mean, they're all, anybody can have tickets to any game they want to, but it's discouraging when you see that many Mets fans, especially when they're behind home plate and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, how do these people get these tickets? Like, that should be illegal.
Well, it's like when all the Knicks fans invaded the Wells Fargo Center for the playoff series against the Sixers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That's all right. I feel like Joel Embiid is not going to be around too much longer. I don't know what's going to happen this coming
your
season.
team's definitely got some decisions to make. They got some capital for free agency this year. Salary cap capital, but still, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're
My
gonna,
team's a shit show anyway, so I just don't know what to fucking do about them either.
yeah. As far as baseball goes, I'm interested to see how the Phillies if they can keep the momentum going and keep the winning going for themselves, because normally they don't start off this strong. Normally it's a middle of the season where they ramp up and then like kind of hold on to the end. Like last season was kind of rare too, because they kind of came on at the end of the season and got hot, and that's what got them into the World Series, and then they sputtered out in the World Series.
I think this is going to be another year too, where I think the trade deadline is not going to be as robust as it tends to be, just because, especially in the National League, you're not going to have as many teams selling players off because there's so many teams vying for those last 3 playoff spots.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it all depends
American
on where
League might
teams
be
are at the end near that time.
Yeah, the American League might be a little bit different. I mean, the White Sox should just fucking sell the whole goddamn team. Who gives a fuck? And just get rid of everybody and just bring the whole, AAA and AA team players up and just let them fuckers play, because, apparently that, group doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Hire the wrong manager. I wasn't a fan of them hiring that dude in the first place, and every other move made zero sense to me. But what do I know? I'm just a fan that's 47 years old, been watching baseball since I was like 6, and yeah, just gotta watch one of the teams I root for shit the bed because their owner says he wants to win, but I don't know about that. The way he's running his baseball and basketball teams, I'm not too sure. Yeah, just
Trust the
fucking sell
process,
them.
Joe. Trust the
Fuck the
process.
process. I'm so tired of that shit. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, yo, Jerry Reinsdorf, you want the city of Chicago to help you build a new fucking stadium for the White Sox, but yeah, this is what you put on the field. This is what you do. Yeah, good luck with that one, jerk. Just fucking sell the team or just fucking move to Nashville. Pick your choice. Do something here. I don't know. It's definitely hard.
Yeah.
One thing I want to do though, speaking of baseball, one year, and I really need to make this happen sooner than later, is like I would like to go to spring training.
Oh, okay. Where's
I
spring
would
training for Chicago or the Cubs? Where do they have it?
I think it's Arizona.
Oh, okay.
I just would like to go to spring training and just like go for like 4 or 5 days, not too long, anything too long, but go down there and watch some spring training games. Are fairly cheap and just hang out. You know what I mean? I always hear people have a lot of fun going to spring training, so it's something kind of like on my list of to do things in my life. I hope I
Yeah.
get a chance to do that.
I just wish the Phillies weren't down in Clearwater, Florida all the time. But I know that's not going to change.
Well, yeah,
Though,
there's only two places you can, you can train for and do spring training for baseball, Florida and Arizona. That's it. That's the only place you can go.
You can go to Nevada.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
They can't.
Uh-huh.
you can go anywhere it's warm at that time of the year.
Well, that's about Florida and Arizona. And that's about it.
Texas. You could go to Texas. Southern part of Texas is warm all year round.
It's also about trying to cut down on like travel and everything, so you have teams nearby. That's why they all congregate in those two areas. So
I
you
know.
don't have to go far.
You
I
should go
know.
to Clearwater. You can go to Hogan's Beach Shop, brother. Yeah.
No reason. I have no ambition.
What you gonna do, brother, when I come to your beach shop? Yeah. Did you see Hulk Hogan now is going to have his own American beer?
That's terrible.
That's not a joke.
Will it have racist statements on it?
Well, you gotta let him have this because
Our beer is only for.
you got to remember, he was supposed to have the George Foreman grill, but he didn't answer the phone in time, and
Yeah, absolutely. No
uh,
doubt about it. The
what,
Hulk
what,
Hogan grill.
what other business opportunities did he lose out on that he said? I'm trying to remember.
But he actually did get a Hogan grill, but only lasted for like 2 years. I was reading some of the stuff, like when I saw the article for the beer. I read a little bit about it, some of the other ventures he's been in that lasted like 2, 3, I think 4 years was the longest any of his things lasted. But so I'm like, hey, yeah, craft beers is popular right now. It still is. So more power to him. He'll probably make more money off his craft beer than fucking Ric Flair is going to make off of his Woo Energy. And to be honest with you,
Woo wings.
I don't think his
wings.
I don't think his Woo Energy drink is probably making a decent amount, but not as much as I think he would expect it to be making.
This is the scariest women's tag team that I've ever seen. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. These are some scary ass women.
I like Zoe Stark, to be honest. I'm a fan of her.
I have to see more of her. Like I wasn't a big fan when I first saw her.
We'll just remember. First of all, about Flair's Woo Energy. Supposedly it has like that shit in it that's like the stuff that from like The Last of Us that like makes the humans into like the
It's got a forever chemical in it.
zombie things or whatever.
Ooh,
And
Ric Flair will be 200 years old before he dies. Then
yeah. I'm sure that whatever kind of like craft beer Hulk Hogan comes up with, I'm sure that it's going to be a bit like making love in a canoe.
Sloppy and wet.
No, it's fucking close to water.
Got it. Oh, yay! We get to say Jade Cargill. Fantastic.
Oh yes,
So this is either a triple
Beyond.
threat or
It's
a
a triple threat match.
It's a
threat.
triple threat that's actually fought under triple threat rules, and that three of them are in the ring at once. And as they say, you can only actually tag your tag team partner.
Here it is, brother. It's Hulk Hogan's Real American Beer. Not kidding.
That's
Not
awesome.
kidding.
Oh, 1 second, gentlemen.
Well,
The
I guess
premium American made easy drinking light lager will be available in 17 different
Let me get
states.
my feet untied.
It features the WWE Hall of Famer's first foray into the premier beer market. He follows such legends as Stone Cold Steve Austin and Broken Skull IPA. Let's see. The beer will be launched with a number of retail partners: the ABC Fine and Wine Spirits, Alberstein's, Safeway, Sam's Club, Total Wine, and more in Walmart. I'm going to go to Walmart and see if I can get myself some real American beer, brother.
Between 8 and 9, somewhere in there. Okay.
I got to try it, dude. I'm sorry. I got to try it. You can get a
Well,
6-pack of that shit and try it.
if you want to be an idiot, I mean,
The Real American Beer will boast a 4.2% ABV and a well-balanced taste. And a press release, Hulk Hogan professed to wanting to bring America together with his beer. Yeah, brother. The real American beer is bringing America together, one beer at a time, said Hulk Hogan. We formed an all-star team to make it happen, he added.
An
I'm
all-star
excited
team.
to introduce real American beer to fans and beer lovers everywhere.
a well balanced taste. Jesus Christ, you start using terms like that. I'm imagining, harkening back.
It's hoppy.
I'm harkening back to like the cereal commercials I watched as a kid in the 80s and 90s, where it'd be like, oh, it's part of this well balanced breakfast.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some people think that beers are a part of a well balanced breakfast. Those people are called alcoholics. and
Yeah.
and trash.
Here we go, brothers. The real American beer.
Oh my God. That is terrible.
They're using that.
That is it.
That is like 30-year-old fucking illustration. Oh my God.
That's awesome. It's so bad. I hope they rethink that.
Well, all right, but
I love it.
I'm sorry.
I need to try it.
I'm sorry. I got to go here though. At least there was at one time in his life Hogan looked like that. Unlike some of those caricatures, well, not really caricatures because they're positive, supposed to be. Unlike some of those illustrations you see of Trump where he's like, ripped out the ass, because there was literally never a fucking time Donald Trump looked remotely like that.
No. Definitely not.
And certainly not now, you fucking idiots. He's fatter than I am.
Who's this Scottish tag team?
They were from NXT. They're actually pretty decent. I like both of them. But, I don't know how the Ohio man likes them. I don't.
I'm sure he hates them.
Well,
probably does.
Because they can't talk in the mic. If they can't talk in the mic, he's going to.
Oh, that's right. They're European. They're Europe. Yeah,
it was very weird because it almost felt like they were thrown into this match because they're Scottish. But I feel like, and again, I don't watch a lot of.
Oh, Alba Fire. I know that name. I've seen her before.
I don't watch Raw and SmackDown start to finish, and I've barely watched SmackDown over the last several weeks, and I think they're on SmackDown now. But it feels like they weren't even on the show that I can much remember from like reading the recaps. Now, one of them, I guess, mother died in like a car accident in the last month or so that probably had something to do with it. But it still kind of felt like they were in the match just because they're Scottish. So
it's a very good possibility. We should get the hometown crowd their fan, their people.
And there's another reason too.
What's the other reason?
They're still disguising Jade as much as they can.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, she's doing okay here, but she's doing big man moves or big woman moves, strong power moves.
I have to go back and rewatch that match because there was two things I definitely saw, but there was something else that I kind of turned away and didn't like rewind it when I was watching it live. But I think Jade had some very obvious fuck ups. So
that was not a good thing to do for her. That move was too awkward to pull off for anybody.
But So I know you haven't seen it yet and everything, Joe, but as you could probably guess, Cody retained.
I would, yeah, I him losing would make zero sense to me at this point.
Yeah, and then after the match, as he's like back up at like the top of the entranceway, Solo comes out from behind and just kind of looks at him, and then the other two
He's
come
like,
out.
"Hello."
Yeah, then the other two come out and attack Cody, and as they're beating him down, then Orton's music hits, and Orton and Owens run out and chase them off, and then they also did like a tease, which I didn't catch at the time, but I saw the screen caps of it later. Orton was kind of looking at the title belt like, I want that.
I mean, it makes sense. Like they really my earpiece is falling out. They really haven't done a fantastic. To be honest with you, and I actually had this talk with I was talking to Miss Ohio about this. I think the only title belt that has been very significant as far as storyline wise since WrestleMania is the belt that Sami Zayn has.
Yeah, the
Like
Intercontinental title. I would agree with that too.
that's the only one that I feel that they've done anything really truly with because Damian Priest is it's been so. Both tag titles have been kind of like subpar. Um, the United States Championship, whatever, the women's titles have been subpar. The women's tag belts, eh, eh, you know, like the storylines and what they're doing with them have just been everything's been mediocre or subpar. Like the Intercontinental title is the only one that they've actually has a good storyline right now, period.
Yeah,
So hopefully, I mentioned Orton should be, I know they're faces, but what else are you going to do with Cody? You got to figure something out. And then, people keep chanting for Roman, but, you know,
He already said
people,
he was taking time off and he was only going to be a part timer.
it's one of those things where, like, yes, people want Roman back. I understand, but it's they don't want Roman back to go for the title. I think people want Roman back to come back with the Usos and have a bloodline battle. That's really it's coming down to.
yeah,
Yeah,
And they're
it's not a.
teasing that with Solo doing like Roman's finisher and shit. So,
yeah.
you know,
But so like when I was talking to Mr. Ohio earlier in the week, he was lamenting that he's like hasn't liked Cody as champion and everything, and I was like, yeah, they've unfortunately fallen into a bit to what I was afraid they were going to, which was not really having any really good challengers for him. I think
yeah,
they've gotten
it's not
decent.
a Cody thing. It's a storyline issue.
Right, and I think they've gotten, but the problem is the audience will always seem to take it out on the guy that's holding the belt.
Of course.
Um, you
No,
know,
really? Why would they do that?
well, I'm just like the biggest example I can always really think of too is
Billy fans.
Shawn Michaels in 1996. The audience turned against him as the babyface champion. Now, a lot of that also probably had to do with what was going on over on the other channel with the rise of the NWO and everything. But
Yeah,
they had Michaels wrestle Diesel, and then they had Michaels wrestle the British Bulldog, and then they had Michaels wrestle Vader, and they could have done a better thing with Vader, but Michaels didn't want to keep working with Vader then. And he had that one really good match with Mankind, and then they did the thing with Sid, and that was it. So, um, but sorry, that was itching. So he was like, "So who's Cody going to wrestle at Money in the Bank?" And I'm like, "Why does Cody have to wrestle at Money in the Bank?"
It's
doesn't
true. He
have
doesn't
to.
have to.
Yeah, and I said, or they can do something with Cody that's not a title match. And from based upon what happened, I'm guessing we're going to get a 6-man tag of Cody, Orton, and Owens against Solo and Tama and Tonga and whatever the hell they're calling him because I can't remember now. Something like that, which is fine because you got two things you can do for that thing. You can set it up to having a Cody versus Solo match at SummerSlam, which I don't know. I'm still like, with Solo. Or
He's
you
should
can,
not. He should not be in a singles match for a title. No,
yeah, but because he's the leader of the Bloodline right now, you know.
which is
Right.
dumb
I
beyond
know,
be
but
dumb, but dumb beyond dumb with
I'm just
that.
saying you could make something of that, especially then if that's where you want to bring Roman back and everything, and just be like,
Yeah.
oh, so you're the leader of the Bloodline, or whatever. Or because of again, like I said, the way Orton was like staring at the belt, then you could turn Orton heel. and you can get a lot of story out of that because
Yep.
it's not totally like, oh, Orton's not going to beat Cody, though I would still expect Orton's not going to beat Cody. It wouldn't be as obvious as it's been with wrestling AJ and Logan Paul. No offense to them, but
Yes.
you've also got storyline beats because the shared history between Cody and Orton. So
Yep.
Yeah.
we're going back a long time now, but still
And
it's
Orton's
there.
one of
So
those people that he'll at this point in his career he will be willing to do anything to not say put himself in the title picture, but help the company. Like he's in that position where
Yeah.
he'll do whatever is necessary to help the company and push storylines and stuff like that.
yeah, Orton's not gonna be like demanding he wins or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
No.
Yeah,
No.
so
yeah.
he,
This isn't 25-year-old Orton. This is
yeah,
45-year-old Orton.
pretty much. Yeah. I don't think he's quite 45, but he's close. So
Yes.
close
But
enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it makes sense. Like I think it should be Orton, to be honest. They could turn him heel. And Orton's one of those guys at this point where he's able to flip-flop between heel and face. He can turn either way, whatever they need him to, and it'll work. So we all know heel Orton works. So it'll be totally fine doing that with babyface Cody. So
So I wanted to mention something about basketball since the only thing that's going on in basketball is the NBA Finals. What the hell happened to the Mavs? Like, how do you go from being a team that was, I don't want to say cakewalking it through the playoffs, but definitely like being in it, pretty much not in a position where they had to feel like they were going to lose a game. Like they were going through the West pretty well.
Boston just
And
a very more superior. I don't want to say. Well, I mean, I don't want to say superior. That's a little bit going a little too far. But Boston definitely is a more well balanced and better defensive team than
well, yeah, it's just
Dallas is.
crazy. I'm looking at excuse me, besides last night's game, which somehow they pulled out a 122 to 84 win,
Yeah,
like
30,
like
30
Boston fell asleep.
like a 30 plus point win. It's not easy to sweep a team. I was like,
No,
as tonight, the Florida Panthers are getting their asses handed to them 7-1. Um, against Edmonton. So yeah, it's not easy to get to sweep anymore.
but
But
yeah,
with
I
that
mean,
being said, yes, Boston technically is a way better defensive team than Dallas is. Luca is a horrible defender.
yes,
He has the worst pass rate, um, guarding rate. I think it's a specific term they use, like blow by
yeah.
rate. Like
Well, yeah,
players are going by him like at a high rate, and some of the other teammates are not very good at defending either. So it's a struggle. Kyrie's a good defender. The other guy, the big dude, Gafford's a good defender, but the rest of that team is hit or miss. Lively is a good defender, but that's pretty much it. The rest of the team's not good. But somehow they pulled it out last night. They just stumped the Celtics. And I was like, when I turned the game on, I'm like, dude, seriously, Boston, you guys are getting your asses handed to you. I was like, Jesus.
yeah, like that was crazy. Wow, they let this. Never mind. I won't say who won.
Um, but I did predict that the series would go 6, but technically speaking, they go back to Boston now. This Boston should be winning it in Boston. There's no
Yeah,
excuses tomorrow night. I think is it tomorrow night or Monday night? I forget. Either
probably
or.
Monday.
Either or. The next game 5, Boston should be winning that at home. Right? If they don't, then shame on them in regards to that.
It's just it's crazy. I mean, we know pretty much in any sport, defense is what wins games, and the playoffs is when the teams that have the better defensive, are defensively better,
Yeah.
start winning series and stuff like that. But it just goes to show you that the West as a whole defensively is not as good as the East when it comes to, their teams.
Yeah, for certain teams, indeed. I like Luca, but I feel like this whole playoffs, he's just been extra whiny and complaining about calls. I've seen it in some of the other series too, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
don't fall into the I'm whining about every call trap, Luca.
yeah,
You're not a good defender. Get your shit together and stop complaining to the refs about
well,
bullshit.
and the thing is
You
like
say
there
that.
there was that play where he wanted to charge where Jalen Green like plowed into
Yeah,
him. It
fuck that
wasn't
shit.
though. It
This
wasn't a
wasn't a
charge though
charge.
because he never got into a legal guarding position. He was
No.
never in front of Jalen at any point in time.
He was like to the side of him and his
Yeah.
body was sideways. It was tilted. Yeah, he wasn't. No.
Yeah, so it's like he wasn't in a legal guarding position or what they define as a legal guarding position. So,
His right foot was planted and his left foot was still moving. Bro,
well,
you
and
no
there's the thing, like
charge.
everybody's like, "Oh, his feet were still moving." Feet don't matter, actually. The
Yeah, I know.
written
It's
rule, as
bad
long as
guarding.
you're in front of, meaning that you are square with the person's body in front of you, as long as you stay in that, in that squared up. Not, I don't want to say squared up because that's a terrible thing, terrible way to look at it. But as long as you stay in that positioning, the the maximum distance can be 6 feet, but there's no minimum distance.
Yeah.
So it's like it's when you actually read the rule really should be fixed to be more defined as like establishing position, like player must establish position instead of legal guarding position, like
Yeah,
because
and they've
that's up
changed
to interpretation and
yeah, they changed that rule to the fucking guarding position. It's so stupid. I was watching a WNBA game the other night and I lost my mind at the announcers. So, situation where the girl drove to the hole, and as she's driving from the wing, the defender comes up and
uh-huh.
meets her right as the girl's going to take off. She like runs right in front of her and like tries to stop immediately, and they called an offensive charge. And I was
Yes,
like, "Are
they've
you
called offensive charges on guys in the air because they were in because the guy was outside the circle, but he was in front of the person. You can't my personal opinion, you cannot call a charge on somebody when they are already in the act of shooting or dunking in that case.
yeah."
You know,
She literally was like, picked the ball up, one, and she's going up, and the girl ran right in front of her and was just like, she was not even, she wasn't even phased. She was like her body was like to the side, like she was trying to get hit in the shoulder, but by her knee, and she got hit. It was like a bang bang play to like charge, and I'm like, what? What the fuck are you? This is I was fucking bamboozled. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is what
yeah,
you're. Oh my god, she established herself, and I'm like, she established fucking nothing, as far as
yeah.
I'm concerned. She literally just like ran in front of the girl, established nothing, and she got called for an offensive charge. I'm like, these rules fucking suck. I was like, wow, this is horrible. I was baffled by it. I wanted to lose. I had a wanted to throw my controller moment. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't get that. Like it's because what's gonna happen is it's gonna cause dangerous plays like in the
Yes.
WNBA and the NBA, and people are going to get hurt because they're
Yes.
throwing themselves into oncoming, essentially a locomotive, depending on what kind of head start that person has and the angle they're
Oh,
taking. Somebody's going to get injured. They need to. I mean, and I know that's why they established in the NBA that circle, the semicircle in front, so people don't stand like right under the basket and take and get hit.
like
But
Europe.
yeah, but it's one of those things like you can't be calling guys in the air and a guy happens to get in front somehow. You can't call that a charge. How's a guy in the air in the act of shooting supposed to control his body not to cause a charge? Like,
And even if he tries to twist his body in his air, when he lands, he's gonna land in an awkward position. He can injure himself or
yeah,
injure somebody else. Like, come on, people. Common
yeah.
sense is doesn't seem to exist with some of these rules. Legitimately. So it's a bit frustrating to see some of that shit, honestly. Um, So, Patrick, you watched episode 2 of Who Killed WCW?
Oh, I didn't. I thought you were going to
And
say Acolyte.
and I was getting there too, and I was coming to you, Jeremy, for that one. Jeremy, have you watched both episodes of The
I
Acolyte?
did. I have not watched episode 3 yet. I saw episode three's out, but I did not watch it. I watched episode 1 and 2.
Okay, okay.
And I will not say,
Episode 3 has caused much controversy on the interwebs.
yes, I know. And I had that same feeling. I didn't even see episode 3, and I'm like, is it really got to be, like, do we really have to take it this far, people? Like, is it really got to go this far
The
with the
fanboys
BS?
are
This isn't even Star Wars anymore.
the fanboys are losing their minds, and their circumcised penises are shriveling up.
She's
I
not even using a lightsaber. She's
um
they're calling it
it's
a thread.
it's not it's the whip. I actually think the whip lightsaber is fucking cool as shit, but we don't see that yet. But anywho, when you watch
Anywho.
when you watch episode 3, it will be pretty obvious. Hopefully, it'll be pretty obvious of why the fanboys are losing their minds and oh man, the Rotten Tomato ratings have dropped so significantly because of this. Blah blah blah. It's 8
This is
episodes.
not what George Lucas had in mind when he wrote the original Star Wars.
Like there's
How
five
do you know
episodes.
that?
There's 5 episodes left. Let's give it some time and see where it goes. I'm not gonna shit on it. Listen, this is 100 years before Phantom Menace. I mean, yes, there's
I wish they would have done it further into the past. I wish they would have went further. That's my only gripe with like the timeline that they're doing. That is my only gripe is I wish they would have done it even further into the past. Like set the Acolyte because when I heard Acolyte as the title, I was thinking of the specific order of Jedi that were named as acolytes,
I,
like the
I
acolyte faction, not faction, but sect of
yeah,
Jedi.
like
And
you were saying.
maybe we're gonna get to that. I
I
don't know.
think the movie is supposed to be set further back than the Acolyte is. So one of the 3 new movies coming out is supposed to be set further back. I get, like, I'm curious to see who the Sith person is.
Yeah,
Um,
we saw that sword come out in the first
yes.
episode.
So
I
in
was like, ooh.
is there going to be any mention of any other Sith people? Is, there going to be any mention of anybody else? Who knows? Maybe not. I just want to, I'm just trying to watch it to see how the story plays out and see where they go. To me, I don't think it's that big of a deal of what they showed or what transpires. There's two main things. One of them I'm not going to spoil for you. The other one is pretty much how they depict the Force. So, and it's kind of like people are upset about that and upset about the other item that happens.
Yeah, because
So,
evidently they're depicting the Force as a thread or something like that. Like,
yeah, it could be used by, it's kind of more or less like they're saying that the Jedi are using the Force incorrectly, where the Force is a thread and you can control your destiny and blah blah blah. Kind of like, you know, predict things and use the Force to predict and
well,
write your own
well, we,
destiny a little bit more or whatever the case may be. It's kind of like,
well, no offense, we saw Yoda use that kind of trait when he would do his meditation,
yeah.
like being able to see the future.
And
Now he would always
some
say the future's unclear though, because
but you see glimpses of it.
right,
Just like
glimpses of the future.
Anakin was able to see glimpses of the
Yeah,
future
so
as
that's
well.
nothing new to Force. The fact that they're just changing how they're referring to it, why is that a big deal? Like, what? Who
And
cares? Like, what we
and,
do?
and to be honest with you, when you see the episode, it's kind of like you're gonna want to, like, to me, one of the first things I wanted to do when I watched the episode was like go back to the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels and watch the episodes with the sisters and their planet and the witches and kind of like let me go back and see what they did with Darth Maul and some of the other stuff because there was a couple things that kind of remember and don't remember,
Yeah,
but it's just I they're taking it a little bit too far. Put it that way.
yeah.
Definitely so.
But yeah, it's just
Who's
it's
taking it too far?
The fanboys.
the fanboys. It's always the fanboys.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I knew what you meant by that.
But yeah,
But
so
It's
we'll see what happens with the rest of the episodes. But if they do the movie and they set it not necessarily as back as far as Knights of the Old Republic, but maybe somewhere in between where they are now and that, it'd be pretty cool. Just because,
I
like,
think that might be where they're going.
I'd like an original story that talks about things that we might have people have an idea of, but they can depict it however they want to. And I mean, we kind of got that here, um,
Yeah.
but we already have the Jedi and the Sith that's already kind of exists. Like I was hoping maybe for something where there was no defined Sith and defined Jedi yet. You know,
Yeah, that's way further back because 100 years there was definitely a depiction for that. But yes, but otherwise, did you see? Well, first, before I venture off, Sir Patrick, you watched all three episodes, I assume.
yes, I have.
What is your take on these first three episodes?
Oh my god, they were so fucking terrible. All these fanboys are right. They're ruining Star Wars. It's woke. It's this. It's that. It's shut the fuck up. I have generally liked them. I don't think they've been great. Um, but this is because this is the way they do things now. It's very serialized. So
Mhm.
we kind of have to see where it's going because without spoiling too much about episode 3, well, I'll just tell you this first and foremost, Jeremy. One big complaint that I was seeing from a lot of people is, oh my god, I can't believe they'd have Carrie Ann Moss on the show and kill her in the first 5 minutes.
yeah, I was very surprised by that too, but
Right. And I
I
said,
I was
makes sense
sad.
with where the story's going.
right. But
They
when
had to
that
kill
Pick
somebody
happened,
some
first.
pick
and then
somebody else to play that role and not
when,
her. God damn it!
when that happened, and then how the first 2 episodes went, I'm like, dude, it's fucking obvious there are going to be flashbacks at
I
some
know,
point.
but
And all of episode 3 is a flashback.
yeah, it
Okay.
is.
So that's not really spoiling much to say that. But so she's in episode 3. And I was like, calm the fuck down. This is not the only time she's going to be in the fucking show, you fucking morons.
But it's sad though. Why would you cast her
Yeah.
and then have her
Um,
die?
one of the issues I had with the first couple of episodes, not so much with episode 3. Well, I guess you could say with episode 3 too. Introducing too many characters at once. Because when you
Mhm.
introduce too
The
many
shop
characters
guy.
at once, the audience has a hard time keeping track of who's who, what's what the
Facts.
motivations are, what the this is,
Yep.
and that. So, sometimes it's like they can't be avoided, but sometimes they can't. So I think that's one thing. It's like we got a few too many characters. So it's like, what's the point of all these characters at some point? We don't,
I must say
but
the
again,
comic
we
relief
don't
Jedi
know
was
yet.
very interesting in episode 2. I'm not sure
What's
why we
that?
had to have the comic relief Jedi. The heavyset guy
Oh,
that was
oh
watching with
yeah, yeah.
binoculars. I'm like, did we
Then
really
when the
have to
girl
have the
comes over,
buffoon that's the Jedi guy? Like, really? Do we have to have that character?
I know.
Yeah. So look, I'm interested to see where they go with this. I want to know who the Sith is, if that's Darth Plagueis or if it's somebody else.
Yes,
Um,
Darth Raven.
so I just want to see where they go with it. Maybe by the end I'll think it's bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't like I said, I don't think it's been great, but it's certainly not been what all these people claim it is. And it's like I can't tell you the number of times in the last 2 weeks that I have X stuff on Facebook or YouTube or wherever I've been, where it's been people saying, bitching about the Acolyte's terrible, or saying that, again, if I hear the W word, then it's an instant get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Because
my
because my opinion with everything is if you're complaining about something being woke, you are a person not worth my time. Now, you're entitled to think differently, of course. But I'm sorry, I don't buy into this everything's woke shit.
Yeah.
So fuck off.
That's you looking for it to be that way.
Correct.
Right. Exactly. There have been things that I've seen over the last few years that I go, I think we're going a little too far with that particular aspect of it. So I'm not gonna say, oh, it's woke. It's woke. Oh, it's woke. Now,
Yes,
let's
I am
just
awake.
let's just also think about the English language here for a second. To be awake, kind of a good thing,
Yep.
So it just
I get my other thing that's interesting about the Acolytes so far is they are the Jedi are, I feel like, being depicted, and I could be wrong, as the police that nobody likes.
The aggressors.
Yeah, they're being kind of depicted as the aggressors, like those that enforce the law of people who don't want to have laws enforced upon them. Like it's kind of interesting.
It does feel like
Like
that.
it's an undertone. Like it's not like completely like they're not just coming out and saying it. It's kind of being felt as an undertone from the shop, the guy that owns the shop or took over the shop. His kind of feelings towards them, and the main antagonist, her feelings towards them. Um, and just some of the things that have happened is I was like, huh, are they trying to say the Jedi are the police of that era that nobody likes and doesn't
well,
want them around? It's
I have some theories along those lines, but they're not really worth me saying anything about until we see where this is going. But here's the thing: it's like, and I can see where certain types of people might complain about such a depiction. But let's look at what we do know, what we have seen. Um, in episode one, the Jedi are depicted, at least the Jedi Council, depicted as being a tad arrogant and aloof.
Yep.
When Qui Gon reports to them about Darth Maul, there's Mace Windu going, I do not believe the Sith could have returned without us knowing. And I think it was Ki-Adi Mundi was all like, the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. So, first of all, they're going to have to make that fit with what they're doing in the Acolyte, because maybe they'll just deny that they were actual Sith or something like that. But again, it is 100 years different, so the people who are around the Phantom Menace aren't around in the Acolyte.
Correct.
except for
Yoda is
yeah,
somewhere,
the guy see Yoda was around the whole
but
time.
the other members of the Jedi Council, I don't think they lived quite that long.
Sir Yota has.
Yeah,
That man lived for 900 years.
and to be fair, Yoda was not one of the characters saying that. So,
Yes.
but at the same time, Yoda also says that at the end of Qui Gon's funeral, he's like, "They always two there are." And so it's like, how did the Jedi know about the rule of two then? And so they got to make some things connect in that level. But I can also see where they're maybe making some allusions to our real life, because as I've always said, movies and television are a reflection of the times in which they are made, not in the time which they depict, even if it's like
Yes.
fantasy and sci-fi and all shit like that. So, but
Yes, indeed.
we have to see where it's going before we can make any such final determination.
Right.
So,
Well, and
if you're
look at
bitching about this show already, you're bitching about it because you wanted to bitch about it.
and if you look at all the movies overall, well, I shouldn't say that. If you look at the first three movies, the Jedi are in those movies depicted slightly as like the aggressor force because they're enforcing laws, they're doing this, and they're the right hand of the government, even though they try to say we are not, we don't.
We're not politicians.
They're keepers of the peace, not
Yeah.
soldiers.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're depicted kind of like that in the first three movies too. So it's very interesting.
Obviously, fans, when he says the first three movies, he means the prequels.
Yes, the prequels. Sorry,
Correct.
movie one,
Episodes
2, and
1
3,
through
not
4.
3, 4, not 4, 5, and 6, not the
Exactly.
originals, the prequels, the number 1, 2, and 3. But yes, those are the ones that I'm talking about because they are depicted, especially in you know, uh, the Phantom Menace. They are
A
definitely
little
depicted in
naive
that.
as well too.
Yeah, and naive, but so it kind of does fit that whole sense with it being 100 years earlier, and there's those sentiments there. But um, overall, I have enjoyed them. Like I said, I gotta watch episode 3 and see where that goes. But you know, um, it's interesting that you have twins and what each one is on a different side of the fence in regards to who's right and who's wrong.
You will find out more about that in episode 3 as well.
Well, yeah, something that happened on their home world in the where
Yep.
they lived.
And you will
Um,
find out in that in episode 3 as well. That's pretty much the gist of the flashback is
and that's good because like
that whole
that
thing.
because of the fact that we know that there's twins by the end of episode 1 in that series, and you get to see them interacting in episode 2. It's like, okay, now I need to know the story, the backstory. What the hell happened to these kids, and why did they think each other were dead?
Yes, you will find out.
All right.
100%.
Fantastic. Maybe I'll watch
Yep.
that on Father's Day. I'll be like, listen, I need an hour to watch some Star Wars, a half hour, because I think they're only half hour episodes.
That one's almost
They're like
about
45 to 50.
that one's about 40 minutes, I think.
So I need 45 minutes to watch my Star Wars show. This is Dad's Day. I get my 45 minutes. Leave me alone.
I know, right? Oh, damn it, leave me alone, people. But yeah, I listen, I'm fine with it. I'm just trying to enjoy it, and I am not going to critique or make any type of judgment on this show until I've seen all 8 episodes.
Right. We
I
can hope
want to
for
watch it all the way
connections.
through.
We can hope for connections that that would make sense going to lead that would lead us into the Phantom Menace. You know, that's what the only thing we can hope for.
Or somewhere near it.
Yeah, somewhere near it. Good storytelling. That's all we really want.
Now, in a switch mode here,
Oh, we're switching.
did you? I know Pat has, but me and Pat, you've watched both episodes, right? Who killed WCW?
Yes.
I didn't
Have
even
as
know that
well.
existed.
Yes.
Is that a was that a release by WWE?
No, it's on it.
It's
Well,
by Vice.
it's on Vice. It's produced by a combination of the Rock's production company
Oh no.
and the guys who did Dark Side of the Ring.
yes,
Okay.
but it's not WWE.
Does Jericho narrate that one too?
No,
that's
I would lose my shit if he did. No.
By the
I-
end of 1998, Dino Bravo.
I
know
know
that's-
that in 1993.
I was just giving an
I know,
example of his
but-
narration.
It is very interesting. I mean, to be honest with you, there are some things that I did not know as far as how they were going about doing it. I had my assumptions, but I didn't want to truly assume. I guess my biggest thing is, listen, I'm going to stick up for Hogan for this time here.
Uh-oh. He's sticking up for Hogan.
Because because I feel that in a lot of people do. Like the episode 1 of this show, they put the spotlight making it seem like Hogan's the reason why WCW died.
Ooh,
And
not cool.
And I don't think that's just because of his contract and his he had the ability to control his character. He can say, "Not today, brother." Creative control.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
But at the same time, you can't say this one moment in a wrestling match killed the company.
No.
And that's when you watch it, that's what it seems like. And I was a little disappointed. Like I've already heard some interviews from some of the people that were on there in regards to Hogan and that whole thing. And I'm going to get into that too, because I think that whole shit with Sting is a bit overblown. But I was a little disappointed in Booker T's comments and some other comments I heard on there as well. Because, So what if he had creative control? Every fucking wrestler looks out for themselves, no matter if it was 1975 or 2024. They all have to look out for themselves because who's going to look out for them? Well, I mean, it depends. If you're in AEW, then you have, your special friends that look out for each other. But other than that,
All friends
um,
wrestling.
uh, you know, you have to look out for yourself because that's just how the business is, no matter if it's 40 years ago or now. So maybe he shouldn't have gotten creative control, but at the same time, when you're bringing somebody in like into a company that needs help, like WCW needed at the time, of course you're going to give him creative control. He's looking out for himself. Jimmy Hart was with him. Um, so yeah, that's it is what it is. Bischoff has gone on his show multiple times that says Hogan is very rarely ever used it, maybe once or twice, and that was one of the times where he was not feeling it because of Sting's, you know, um, what's the word I'm looking for? How Sting was that day. He didn't seem like he was in the right mindset to do that match. And to be honest with you, at the end of the day, no one knew. Like at that time when that pay-per-view happened in 97, the internet was just kind of like coming about with forums and chat rooms and whatnot. No one knew what the real finish was. There was only a handful, like several thousand, like wrestling fanboys who didn't like the finish because they thought it was kind of cheesy. But no one knew if that was the real finish. If those forums were didn't start for another 5 years, I don't think this whole story would be that big of a deal about the fucking finish, about what really was supposed to happen and what did happen. At the end of the day, Sting won the title. They all came down to celebrate. He got a fucking huge pop even when they restarted the match. And it's kind of like, well, he would have got a bigger pop if it was clean. I'm like, how do you know? The place was sold out. They still would have cheered for him. Like that was in 97. I was fucking depending on what month it was, I was 18, 19 years old. Like I've been watching wrestling since I was 5. I had no idea if that was supposed to be the finish. I'm like, wasn't like okay. I didn't know who to root for. I was a Hogan fan and a Sting fan. I didn't know who I wanted to win. I was like, maybe if Hogan should win. It'd be better if the NWO keeps the belt. And I'm like, well, maybe Sting should finally win. But I don't know if that would make sense. I'm just kind of thinking. So I just feel like that whole match was really overblown as far as the finish and what should have happened and could have happened because Sting ultimately won the fucking belt anyway. He still got it. Um, I think just I think they kind of I don't think they were purposely doing that, but it was presented in that way, like they were really shitting on Hogan. And I'm like, that's not really fair to him in regards to that, to be honest. And I did hear I watched Busted Open, listen to Busted Open, and they had one of the guys on there, and I can't remember his name, that did this. And they brought that up to him. He's like, yeah, it really wasn't meant to be make it seem like Hogan is the reason why, WCW failed or whatever the case may be, because if not for Hogan signing with WCW, WCW would have never went on to the iconic, run that it did. So, um, but episode 2 definitely brought in more story about the corporate side of the merger and the people who didn't on WCW. And they have the people, some of those people in the corporate ladder, like on the show saying they don't like the wrestling, they didn't want it. So one of the examples where the guy who was on Busted Open and was like, I saw the books, I saw it. Where just for an example, Turner had their home video section, right? TNT Turner home video section. And at the time, WCW's pushing out their VHS tapes for their pay-per-views and other stuff. So any profits, positive revenue that WCW videos made went to TNT home videos. And any losses or, whatever it costs to produce all this went on the negative books for WCW. So they took the money a lot of set times and put it in the different areas to give a boost to those parts of TNT and all that, and anything that was like cost effective, like whatever it costs to do marketing, doing ads, doing whatever the case may be, they would put it in the negative light in the WCW side and make make the books worse as they're losing millions, but all the revenue was barely there and it was going to all other different branches within the company. And
It's
they
what
did
you
a
call creative accounting.
yeah, and they did shitty licensing. They even said it on the show in this, oh, it was the second episode where like the licensing fees they were charging, they were so low, so they weren't able to make money on, they weren't making money on licensing of the product.
And
And
yeah, and the suits excuse is always, well, it was wrestling, so we couldn't sell it for premium rates.
which was a load of
Did,
shit.
did,
They
did
just
you did you try?
yeah, because one, they didn't try, two, they didn't give a shit. So they finagled the books legally to make it look like WCW was failing when it really wasn't. And even when they were doing that, there was one year where they still made money, which is even crazier how they pulled that one off.
Yeah, they
It-
made money in '96 and '97, and I think they still made money in '98.
A part of 98, yeah.
Then it came all crashing down in '99 and 2000. It just got worse.
Yep.
So
98 was when they started finagling the books even more,
yeah,
legally finagling the books to make the product go to shit.
yeah, and considering that,
And now it's funny because TBS and TNT are back in the wrestling business.
yeah,
And the biggest thing too is, when that was going on and Eric Bischoff was getting burnt out because he's battling the corporate side and people didn't really know what he was dealing with on the corporate side. And then when Kevin Nash kind of took over with the booking, and then Vince Russo was brought in, Vince Russo and Nash booking and the boys, in the back, fighting with each other, that didn't help their cause to try to keep make corporate keep wrestling. They were just like, oh, they're imploding within. Great. Let's make those books. They're making less money. We can make those books even look fucking even worse than what they are now. That's pretty much what they did. I think the one biggest thing that I did not know, which was very interesting, is that months before Vince even bought WCW, that one of the guys from WCW had a secret meeting with Vince to combine both companies to work together as like one company, like merge, like in a true merger, and keep one of WCW shows as like still on TV, but like their talent would swap back and forth, which I thought was very interesting. Not that we're ever going to get Vince McMahon to say that really happened, but we have a WCW guy on record saying it happened. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
could you
Pat.
imagine if I could never see Vince agreeing to something like that? Oh yeah, sure, we'll talent swap and we'll keep your show alive. Like,
I mean, it would have worked, to be honest with you, but
you
that's
know,
not
yeah,
how.
the only time Vince ever did something like that was with ECW, and that's because he knew he could keep ECW under his thumb.
Yeah, WCW was a different, different setup.
SummerSlam,
As
August
Crockett and
2nd and 3rd
AWA and Mid South and everything
at
else
the
happened
Mistake by
before.
the Lake, Cleveland Stadium.
Yeah, it's
Well,
2026.
that's
Oh
not
no,
the
that's
mistake.
this year.
That's not the mistake by the lake anymore. I mean, that was the old Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Have they
Still
even
close. It's still close to the lake.
have they
I
even
know.
announced
It's.
where SummerSlam 2025 is going to be?
I don't think so.
We know where 2026 is going to be. It's a two-nighter, but like we haven't heard about 2025 yet. It makes no sense. Anywho, go ahead, Pat.
What was I saying?
I don't remember.
I don't either. So, um, yeah, there was some interesting stuff in the show. There was some stuff I didn't know or didn't remember, but most of it's kind of rehashing stuff I've heard for years. Like I said, what Bischoff said about Sting essentially working himself into a shoot when he went in to meet with Hogan and Bischoff about the Starcade match was a little different than what I can ever remember hearing before.
Yeah, it was a little bit different.
Yeah, so like I said, and if that is what happened, that's on Sting, really.
Yeah.
you know, um, a lot of the business stuff might have been reported in Guy Evans's book, and he's one of the guys they interview in this. I don't remember. I've only read the book once, so I don't remember. It got a little boring with all the business shit.
I never read his book yet.
It's pretty good, but it got a little boring with all the business shit after a time because at some point it got a little repetitive and just got a little like, yeah, okay, whatever, because those are the people he was able to talk to. He
Yeah.
wasn't talking as much about the creative aspect for it. I mean, the next episode is going to be fun because enter Vince Russo, so
Oh yeah.
Yay! The Vince Russo WCW
another
era.
chance to get him to here to say, "How could I, a writer, ruin a wrestling company, bro?"
Very easily, bro.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
With bad writing.
and it's like, well, you made yourself champion once, so
And he made David Arquette champion. Okay, can we continue on with the craziness?
yeah.
Oh yeah, the spot with the blood that missed Kevin Nash completely. Good
It
job
just
with that one.
there's so much shit. So he's just so full of it. I understand why I can understand why Cornette hates him. Cornette
I don't think a lot of people in the wrestling industry like Vince Russo.
Cornette hates him to an
Very
overly
few.
Cornette hates him at an overly psychotic way. Um,
He does.
yeah, I fully admit it's a little psychotic, but
But once again, it's history of two men being in the industry, doing similar things, so on and so on. So I get it.
Is that Chelsea Green with Piper?
yeah,
Yes.
they've been
Okay.
together for a while now. So, but
She didn't have on her normal attire, so I was like, is that Chelsea Green still?
yeah, a lot of people were talking about that in the cage side seats.
Ooh,
Uh,
does she look fantastic?
She's got like a Scottish schoolgirl
she's wearing
outfit
like what
on.
could best be called like a schoolgirl outfit on. Yeah.
Oh, does she now?
It's
Oh.
With looks like a beret, which is French.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no,
I don't care about that
berets
part. I just want
berets
about
could
the other
be-
part.
There's not really berets, but there's like Scottish hats that kind of
Yeah,
resemble
it
berets
looks
somewhat.
it's definitely a Scottish style because I've seen the guys that do the bagpipes in that wear
Yeah.
those style of hats, but it
I
kind of
can
looked like a
never- I can
beret for
never
a
look
second.
at
to me.
It kind of looked like it was over to the side a little bit, which would be more like a beret-ish style.
Yeah, but so
Yes, Joe, you'll enjoy that outfit.
so so this
Yes.
so this is kind of also talking about wrestling. This is something I wanted to mention because
All right, let's mention it.
I talked to you guys about it last week,
Excuse me.
and unfortunately,
I was not here.
the the post got kind of lost a little here, so I can't really give it to you like chapter and verse as it
All
were.
right, well, we know Bailey's not going to lose the title in this match.
Probably
That'd be
not.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but it was on a group, Facebook group called Wrestle Talk, and they were quoting something that Brian Danielson had said about John Moxley.
Oh,
He was
nice.
praising he was praising John Moxley, and it was taken by
Oh, boo.
I was taken by I guess from a Sports Illustrated interview, which Sports Illustrated. Oof, talk about something that's completely irrelevant anymore.
What are you talking about? That article that the Rock wrote. I mean, Rock was,
was ESPN.
interviewed for it. Oh, that was ESPN. That's
Yeah.
okay. Sorry.
Sports Illustrated's worse though. Sports Illustrated fillets AEW every fucking chance they get.
Yes.
But so anyway, Danielson was just praising the hell out of Moxley and everything. And so I just made a comment and I just said, and when people say Danielson should have creative power, I point to comments like this. Because I'm like, if he's praising the hell out of Moxley, who's become such a one-trick pony and not a good trick, I'm just like, then no. And a guy started replying to me and taking issue with what I was saying. And then
Of course.
And then
Not
I won't
again.
Dare he, that piece
yeah,
of shit.
and these are the comments that have since been deleted. I don't know why or how they did.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know if he deleted them or whatever the case is, but
Piece of shit. Whoever did it.
yeah. So I don't know what happened. That's just what it comes down to. But anyway, so it just got to that we went back and forth once or twice, and then he went and he said, "Oh, but if he was in WWE, you would love it."
Not if he was doing this gimmick
And
where
I
he's just
said,
bleeding all the time.
if he was still Dean Ambrose and was wrestling like that, meaning like Dean Ambrose did, I said, I might. But I just abhor what he's become in AEW with being a Nick Gage wannabe whose primary skills are cursing, bleeding, and no selling.
Correct.
He then replied to me again. I can't see this reply, but it was essentially something like, "So you just admitted that it's all about where he wrestles? Okay, great, got it." Something like that. And then it was like the post seemed to disappear, so I couldn't try to reply to him because what I wanted to say back to him was, "No, you did not read what I said. What I said was if he was wrestling like if he was still wrestling like when he was Dean Ambrose, I would still like him regardless if he was in AEW or not.
You forgot that. You forgot to
If
put
he
that in.
was wrestling the way he is now in WWE, I would hate it. I
Yeah,
hate
they
the
wouldn't
way
allow it
he's
anyway, but
wrestling,
yes, I wouldn't.
not
I wouldn't.
the where. It's the
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
how.
It's the type, the style.
And he didn't seem to get that. He was accusing me of being tribal, saying that
Oh,
I just always I only like WWE, not AEW. When his comments then and his blatant misunderstanding of what I said showed that he was the one that was being tribal. And this is some of the reason why I really just need to stop replying to any of this shit. Just stop making comments and just getting the fuck off Facebook. The, the tribal nature of this shit, and we see this shit with like Star Wars too, since we brought that up and
no,
everything.
yeah. The fan
It's
It
boys.
is
gotten way out of
so
hand.
fucking out of control.
Yep.
The internet is a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because everybody can voice their opinion.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks they're right and everyone else is wrong,
yeah.
no matter what.
What the internet in a lot of ways has shown us is that it's great that we have this place where we can all go and we can all get
Zero common sense.
information and do stuff and whatever. The internet has also shown how horrible it is because in a lot of ways it's shown how true democracy, like 100% pure democracy, sucks. And that 100% pure democracy is just not a workable system. There has to be limitations to it in certain ways. You can vote, but you can't vote on everything. You know what I mean? So, but I just I don't know where to go with some of these people because it's like
There is nowhere to go.
my problem too is I have views, I have opinions, I have biases. Everybody does. It's hard to get past them. When I see people constantly saying, uh, the WWE is boring. They just talk endlessly and they do this. I'm like, well, yeah, that's true. That's why I really can't sit through WWE's weekly shows that much because they get bogged down with boring. There is not much of an emphasis on matches, though we did get a decent one on Raw a couple weeks ago between Sheamus and Kaiser. But most TV matches are whatever. AEW's problem is that they don't put enough story into the matches. They don't put enough build into the matches. And I just don't like the style of wrestling. I don't. I don't like that it's constant flips. I don't like that it's constant no selling. I don't like that it's kicking out of finishers left and right. I don't like how there's always got to be going to the outside. There's always got to be shenanigans with like tables and shit like this.
Yeah.
I don't like that style. If that's what they did in WWE, I wouldn't like it there either.
So I gotta say this. Piper is reminding me of Awesome Kong with her outfit, her in-ring
I
attire.
don't think it was nearly like anything like Awesome Kong.
You don't think it was?
I don't think so.
Well, we'll ask for Joe's opinion when he watches it later. I think
Well,
it's kind of Awesome Kong-esque.
okay.
So,
I'm excited about schoolgirl outfit. Go ahead.
but you can't. You just can't talk to people like this because they get so entrenched, and if you challenge their beliefs, they're not open-minded about it. They just dig in further, and I've been known
Nope.
to do that too.
Well, and these are the people that before internet and all these different avenues to be able to express your opinions, those opinions were kept in their house amongst the people that agreed with them.
Well, that's the other thing too. This is what I was kind of getting at a minute ago.
Yep.
I believe that a lot of these people didn't grow up in a world without the internet. I believe these are all people who were in like their 20s and shit, and the
These are all
internet's all
millennials and all that shit. These
the
are
like
these
the
are
internet.
people who were born after 2000 and early and
Yeah,
current,
these are people who um,
maybe
don't
late 90s, but
don't
whatever.
don't know things the way that we did in the late 80s and early 90s and shit like that.
Mm-mm.
And saw the internet become a thing and every other damn thing.
Lived through the analog and the digital age. Yeah, pretty much.
They spend too much time
Legitimately.
online and not enough time talking to real people. So
Go
they
out and touch some grass.
well, yeah, but
I'm just kidding.
Ground yourself.
it's not even like touch grass. It's engage people in a way where you're not hiding behind a monitor and a keyboard where you can say things to somebody that you wouldn't say to their fucking face.
Yeah. Then we have people who that we, out there too, that it's not as popular as being tribal to one company, but they're very tribal to specific wrestlers, and you can't say anything bad about them or you're a fucking idiot, so on and so on. There's not as many of them out there, but that
Why,
group is
Joe,
actually
whoever do you mean?
that group is growing because I've been hearing more of that shit I've been seeing more of that on the internet too.
I mean, it's like
I don't know who I'm talking about, but anyway,
if this is the style of wrestling that you were first exposed to, and this is what you grew up with, and that's what you like, then that's fine. But you can't tell me that I'm wrong because I don't like it, because this is completely subjective. This isn't something that's like quantitatively be measured and like fact checkable
Well,
in terms of the way it is. It's all a matter of preference, but that's the thing too. Dude, I will get like Vince Russo here. It's just fucking wrestling. How
so
is it that important to you? Don't you have something better going on in your life?
it's a
Don't you have responsibility?
it is a scripted, fake male soap opera. That's what professional wrestling is.
the
It
thing
is entertainment.
Yes.
what I find interesting is
It's like the Real Housewives of New Jersey, right, Jeremy?
yes. What I find interesting is people that are our age that have grown up on wrestling, um, and have switched what they appreciate, what they think is good wrestling now is way better than what it was back then. Like, and have very little appreciation for what came before it.
I blame ECW for that.
You know, it's like, okay, yeah, you may not
Hogwash.
enjoy that style of wrestling anymore because it was slow, it was methodical. Um, there wasn't a lot of high flying stuff. There was very few wrestlers did it. Like Snuka did some high flying stuff. The Dragon did it. All of a sudden, his freaking name is eluding me. I don't
Ricky
know.
Steamboat.
Ricky
Ricky
Steamboat.
the
Thank you.
Dragon
You
Steamboat.
know, the Macho Man did some high flying stuff.
Killer
Uh,
Bees.
Killer
Yeah.
Bees. Owen Hart did when he came into. He was a
The
little bit
Rockers,
later in that,
obviously.
but what's that?
The Rockers.
The Rockers. So it was more of a novelty thing to be a high flyer type wrestler,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean that it was bad wrestling. It's just different. And like anything, it has evolved, and that's a good thing. Like wrestling should evolve. Should it evolve to the point where you don't know, understand storytelling, and that you don't get that part of the wrestling incorporated into your high flying maneuvers now?
It's the
No,
basics. They want to
but
change it all.
it should evolve, and that keeps things fresh. It keeps people interested, brings new people to it, but you still have to hold on to those basics of what actually makes a match a good match, not just say, oh, we're going to throw that out the window and all we're going to do is go crazy and do all these things that could possibly end our careers in one match, you know. But it's just funny that some of the people that I've interacted with that are around our age that they're like, oh no, that I wouldn't watch, that I liked it back then, but I would never. That it's not wrestling anymore. Like this is wrestling to me now. It's like I don't know about that. maybe it's more entertaining if you like that style of wrestling, but it's definitely it's not necessarily a better or a worse product in either
I,
era.
I don't mind the style of wrestling. It's not that I don't like it. I like it to a point. I think my problem with it is I think they're trying to overdo it and push too much of the limits and do too much of one certain thing and not they're missing the point of like how a match is supposed to be laid out and how the story of a match is supposed to be done while in the ring. There's not really much there's not a lot of storytelling in the ring in AEW. It's just a lot of big fucking spots. People were getting their shit in and you know, you have all this convoluted shit and there's very little storytelling in there.
Yeah.
Even in the pay-per-view matches, you can have a banger of a 5 star. Yeah, because you're doing all these crazy spots. But at the same time, I had to say it, Pat. But at the same
Nothing like a
time,
good banger.
you know, at the same
I'll tell
time,
you
this
what
this
though,
the storytelling's not really there.
this match right now, the Piper Bailey match is actually really good.
Good. I
Way
like
better than the
Piper.
triple threat women's match. Way better.
I like Piper. I think I've always
Yes.
liked her. I've always thought she's been a really good wrestler.
For a female her size, she's good. She's good in the ring.
Yes, she definitely is.
Well, yeah,
Like she needs to teach Nia Jax how to be like. She needs to teach Nia Jax. This is how you can wrestle as a larger woman.
I'd bang her. Go ahead.
You
so
want
I
to have a
mean,
banger? It's a banger.
I'm gonna have a banger with Piper.
one
I
of
would have
one
a
of,
Piper banger.
one of the things that AEW does is they book matches without reason.
Correct.
Who is fighting? Why is this guy fighting this guy?
They
Why is this
well,
lady fighting
and
this
they
lady?
book overly gimmicked matches without reason. They just did Anarchy in the Arena, and now they're going to do Blood and Guts. Why?
Cause it's cool.
Because they do it every year. I was told, and I'm like,
And it's the
and
same
I said
group.
to
That's the other problem.
and I said to that person, yeah, and as we've discussed in the past, maybe you shouldn't do it every year. You don't need to do Money in the Bank every year because it becomes a crutch in so many ways, and then also a hindrance sometimes. You don't need to necessarily do Elimination Chamber or Hell in a Cell or whatever every year. So just
All
because
right, this
they
is
do it
stupid
every
now.
year, so just because they do it every year isn't really a good excuse anymore. And now, yeah, so it's going to be the Bucks and Okada and Dipshit and whoever against whatever 5 people they throw together. It seems probable that Swerve's going to be one of them, but then who's going to be the other 4 and why? You
Yeah,
know,
Yeah.
and you want to talk about a company?
and obviously, I'm sorry, Jeremy. Obviously, the 5th person is going to be Paige. They're going to bring Paige back for this. That's pretty obvious.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm thinking.
And you want to talk about what the problems with what WWE is doing with Cody and his run right now as a babyface uh, champion. Look at what AEW is doing with Swerve. He hasn't really done much of anything since he's become the champion.
Yeah, the booking of Swerve has been atrocious. So,
Yes.
So both companies are failing their champions right now.
Correct.
One worse than the other, of course, but they're both not doing good by their champions, and they both have babyface champions.
yeah, AEW is doing wrong by their champion because they're making other storylines more important and because they're letting another guy be more popular than him, that being Osprey. WWE is because they don't have enough decent challengers for Cody to make him seem interesting. So
Well, and that's their own fault because the only bad guy that they really cared about was Roman because he had the belt, and that's the only bad guy that they were really pumping anything into. All the other guys were subpar characters in the play.
sorry, I saw an illustration here on Facebook. That's
That's all right. You could have laughed at my analogy there. At least
no,
that
no,
was
no. I
better than my
wasn't.
earlier
No,
analogy.
I was wondering if that was actually said he was pumping. I was like, oh boy, where are we going with this one?
no. Somebody's got a Facebook thing that popped up on my feed. It's a hand drawn T Rex. Okay, and in each of his hands, he's got like those long arm grabber things,
Oh, okay.
and there's a caption above it that says, "Yeah, bitch, now what?"
That's
So
funny.
that just making me laugh hysterically. But yeah, so I'm like, So AEW books, matches without reason and everything. And I'm gonna spoil something for you here, Joe, a little bit. So in the post-show press conference, one of the guys interviewed was CM Punk, and one guy asked him, "What would you think about your first match with Drew being a Hell in a Cell match?"
Oh boy.
And Punk basically laughed at the guy and said, "I'm glad you're not booking a major wrestling promotion. Take that fantasy booking somewhere else." And you know what?
He's right.
As funny as that is, and it is kind of obviously a pretty obvious knock on AEW, he's completely fucking right. Yes, they've been building this storyline with Drew and Punk since the Royal Rumble and everything, but you know what? That doesn't mean that when you finally get the match in the ring, you start with a fucking Hell in a Cell match.
Yep.
That's
Nope.
what I that's why I blame when I say I blame shit on ECW. That's the shit I'm talking about. Because everything in ECW was a gimmick match. Because everything was a hardcore match. So everything had to involve weapons or tables or this or that. And so that's what was happened way too much now. WWE did it a lot, and now AEW does it turn to 11, basically, where there's got to be shenanigans, there's got to be weapons, there's got to be tables, there's got to be something in like every fucking match, and rules don't matter. And yeah, so that's why you get these fucking clusterfucks. It's like, when,
100%.
when's the last time they did a Stadium Stampede show in AEW? Did they do one of those last year? Because if they did, I'm sure they're going to do one of those again this year. Why? Oh, because we do one every year. Do you realize there's a problem that you have all these gimmick matches that you says you got to keep doing every fucking year? How do you end up differentiating them? Oh, Anarchy in the Arena is just that. Oh, Blood and Guts, it's like a War Games match. Only, of course, we can't call it War Games, and there's a top of the cage, but they get out of the cage anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm wondering when
So at one
WWE is
point,
going to stop doing
yeah,
the
at one point,
Hell
this
in
is
the
all just
Cell or
become
the
something.
Money in the Bank matches
To
as
me, they should
a
stop the Money
the
in the
elite.
Bank match now. There's no need for them to ever do Money in the Bank again, in my opinion.
Like,
So
I get the premise of it,
yeah,
but
breaking out Hell in a Cell is fine, but it doesn't have to be at least once a year, and you should better have a damn good fucking reason to do it.
they could change Money in the Bank to a special Monday Night Raw event if they wanted to have Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
Kind of like they did with King of the Ring. They subjected King of the Ring to a multi-night Monday Night Raw, but
I mean, what the King of the Ring and King of the Lady and the Queen and King of the Ring now is a title shot for SummerSlam. So,
yeah.
I think, and it's weird. So you make that a title shot for SummerSlam. You have Royal Rumble. It's a title shot at WrestleMania. At that point, if you're doing that, the King of the Ring kind of it's just a wild card. And I think it's kind of played its course because, they wait so long most of the time for anyone to try to cash that in that it's kind of at this point it's like whatever. It doesn't to me it doesn't really mean as much. Just keep the Royal Rumble for what it is, and if you want to make the Queen and the King that for SummerSlam, that's fine. Do something else and make the Money in the Bank something where what TNA does. TNA does it a little bit different because they have multiple briefcases, but anyhow, make the person who wins Money in the Bank a shot at any title. It doesn't have to be the heavyweight title. It could be the U.S. title, the Intercontinental title, the tag team titles. Find yourself a tag team partner and challenge for the tag team titles. Make it something. Do something different with it to make it give us a fresh look. That wouldn't be out of the realm. See how that works. I just think doing the same course is just kind of getting stale at this point.
Oh, and I found the exact quote just so he was responding again to a question. His exact quote was, "I mean this with all due respect. This is why I'm happy you do not run a professional wrestling company. First match is a Hell in a Cell, brother. You got to take that fantasy booking shit somewhere else."
Yeah, you don't do a Hell in the Cells at first like that. That's
Especially you got
that's
Punk
the
coming back
end
from an
game.
injury. Like you
Well,
have Punk coming
yeah.
back from an injury too. Like, do you really want to put him in a match where injuries are likely to happen?
And at the same point, a Hell in a Cell is like the culmination of the ending a story, like ending the story arc for like two guys like that.
Right, that would be each guy's won one match. And
Right.
now
Or
this is
they
the deciding factor. Hell in the Cell to
Hell,
end
or
it
yeah.
all.
or
Hell in a
they've each
Cell.
won 3 matches and they're ending it with a Hell in a Cell
Yeah,
because they need to.
Hell in a Cell is essentially a cage match. What was a cage match meant to do? Two things: end a feud and keep other people out. That was the whole point. So like they would do a cage because it's like, oh, there had been interference from this guy or that guy or whatever. And also again, it was meant to say this is the culmination. Now, obviously, again, things
It's gonna
evolved and
be
changed over
me
time,
and you, brother.
but it's like, yeah, like when Hogan and Orndorff had that famous cage match where like they both like hit the outside of the ring at the same time. That wasn't the first time they had wrestled. When Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude had their cage match at SummerSlam 1990, that wasn't the first time they had wrestled.
Yeah.
So it's like when they did that no holds barred the match the movie thing, they replayed the SummerSlam '89 main event of Hogan and Beefcake against Savage and Zeus, and they did it in a cage. But they had wrestled at SummerSlam, so again, just
I like Drew's entrance. The bagpipes.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
drum and pipe band.
as
Yeah.
as a late great WWE wrestler would say, "It's time to pay the piper."
Oh yeah.
Because after all, just when they think they got the question, God damn it, fuck.
Just when they think they have the answer, I change the question.
Thank you. I fucked it up. So I do not get to finish it. I will be punished now.
Yes, you shall be. Shame on you.
I'm punishing myself more than you can possibly know.
Oh boy.
It's almost the midnight hour.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
gonna wait till the midnight.
And I'll say right now, Clash at the Castle.
Mayhem at the Manor.
As an overall 4 matches, there has been 2 mediocre matches and 2 good matches. And it started off with the 2 mediocre matches because the match between AJ and Cody was okay. It wasn't great. The Gable and
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn match was really good. They had to tie in storyline stuff, which was a little hokey. There was a hokey part in the Bailey and Piper match, but overall that match was really good, in my opinion. So this match here is what the match that's going to determine, like, does it get that B rating or does it stay like in a C rating? Like if this match is good, then I think it's a B pay-per-view or a B PLE play.
The PLE gets a grade of a B. For
Now this is kind of
Bootylicious.
goofy. The decibel level of the sound, like they're really measuring the decibel level right now.
Yeah, I love how they started doing that. Triple H made mention of it in his press conference.
Yeah.
He says they're using that as a guide to figure out like what crowds have been loudest and everything.
Are they going to award it a crowd? Are they going to send special tickets to every person in that crowd if they are the loudest crowd of the year?
No,
Loudest crowd of the year wins
no,
tickets.
No. They're going to use it as a way to try to figure out who's the loudest crowd. So, they were that loud, so we should go back there.
They already know that.
It's another
It was sold out. We're going back there. We made
I
a
mean,
lot of money.
yeah, I mean it's Europe. Europe, they sell it every time they go to Europe, they'll sell it out
This is a pretty
automatically.
big place that they're at in
Yes.
Glasgow,
Yes, that is a huge stadium. Listen,
and they're showing up to
Europeans
the rafters, and I don't see an empty seat.
Europeans love professional wrestling. Anytime they go there, it will most likely always be sold out 99% of the time.
Unless, of
Period.
course, you're AEW, then
No, no.
I'm just kidding.
They did as well. And they will do it this year. They will maybe not the same number, but they will probably get close to it. They just love professional wrestling. So whatever they seats they a lot to sell, they will most likely sell them all.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what actually caught me off guard, and I thought it was very interesting. I think the crowd maybe went along with it's European crowds, what they do. They did it a little bit too long, but on SmackDown last night, the Cody Rhodes chants during the promo between Cody and AJ, that was very interesting where they were doing the Cody Rhodes. And they were like going back and like you could barely hear AJ talk and Cody was you could barely hear him at times. I was like, wow. They're
I'm sure Mr. Ohio loved that because he loves international crowds with a feverish love of them.
he doesn't like European he hates European basketball players unless they you play on his team. But it's just kind of like there's something with European people. Like I just don't get it. What's your hate on the Europeans? Like, come on, bro.
They remind him too much of his game. S- Slow and a lot of three pointers. That's terrible. I shouldn't say that. Have that stricken from the record.
Yeah, man. Hey, pal, this is live TV.
Oh, that was funny. I'm not gonna lie, that was funny.
Oh man.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh man.
Live TV, pal. What do you want me to do?
Uh,
Rawr, rawr.
I don't know. I wanted there's a I'll end with this final thought. There is a series that I want to watch, but I'm not sure if I'm going to, and it's called Clipped. It's about the Clippers and their owner when he made that inappropriate statement about the black people on his team, and was it the fans also, or just the black people on his team? I think it was just the people on
I
his team.
mean,
But either way,
ultimately,
it was terribly,
it doesn't matter.
terribly
players,
terrible.
staff members, whatever.
Yeah. But so it's about like that time frame of him being the owner of the Clippers and Doc Rivers being there as the coach, and
I'm curious too. I might.
because they have not Morgan, wrong person. They have Lawrence Fishburne playing Doc Rivers. And I'm like, I love Lawrence Fishburne, but I don't know about him playing Doc Rivers. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know why. But they do have, damn it, I'm going to forget his name. That's so terrible.
Probably watch it later on this summer.
The guy who played Al Bundy, why can't I think of his freaking name
Ed
also?
O'Neill.
Mhm.
Ed O'Neill, thank you. He's playing the owner of the Clippers.
Oh God. That's funny. Ed O'Neill and Lawrence Fishburne. Okay.
Yeah. So
You know.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm curious because it does have to do with sports. It does have to do with an actual event within sports history. But like I'm less like I'm torn.
Hey, it might be good.
I don't know. They had Austin Rivers critiquing it on the people that they have played, and he's like, Lawrence Fishburne doesn't look anything like my dad.
I'm
Well,
not surprised.
one thing is,
And he's like, this guy doesn't look like this basketball player at all.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
very rarely are you ever going to get people who look like the people they're playing when they're playing real people.
Yeah, it's a bit challenging. But all right.
look at the guy who played Magic. That guy doesn't like in what is that? What the hell's that show about the LA Lakers?
The one that was on HBO.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget what the name of it was, but
It's called Showtime or some shit like that. I
No,
don't
it's
remember.
called Winning Time because a show on HBO cannot be called Showtime.
No, I'm just asking. I don't remember. I didn't watch it.
but yeah, like the people that they had playing those, the NBA players in that show didn't really look like the NBA players themselves. So They came kind of close with the guy who played Kareem.
Yeah, I saw stuff of him. That was almost. Um,
Jerry West
re-
just died.
yes,
He was a major character in that show. So
Yeah.
yes, he was. Yes, he was.
yeah, Clipped has a good Rotten Tomato score for what that's worth.
It doesn't really surprise me per se.
I mean, I
All
can
right.
see
So shall we call it a night,
in
gentlemen?
this one screen
Yes.
shot I see of Lawrence Fishburne from the show. I can kind of sort of see some similarities to Doc Rivers, but I mean, again, he obviously doesn't look that much like Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
But again, it's like go look to see like the four guys they've supposedly cast to play the Beatles in these Beatles movies that Sam Mendes is going to be making in a year or two, and can't say that they especially look like them, but it's quite frankly, it's more important to have good actors than people who look exactly like John Paul, George, and Ringo.
Yeah, because if
Whereas,
they really wanted to make them look like those characters, they could put a whole bunch of makeup on them
right, but
and use plastic
it would get
stuff.
distracting at a
Yeah.
show. Now, contrast that with what an episode of Doctor Who just did, where they had four people playing the Beatles and they were barely in the episode and they still cast people who looked fucking nothing like the Beatles. It's like considering that they were barely in the episode, I don't think they even think they had that many lines. You could have maybe found somebody who more closely resembled them for Christ's sake. But
I guess they're making a big deal too, and I happen to see this Doctor Who made a groundbreaking thing where they had uh, a same-sex kiss in the Doctor Who show for the first time ever, evidently.
Oh, really?
involving the Doctor, I think yes,
Yeah, involving the Doctor.
I think they'd done same-sex kisses before, but yeah, that's something I don't really care about. So
Yeah, neither do I. I just thought
whatever. Yeah,
it's just funny that they made a big deal out of it. Like that's stuff that's happened in a lot of TV shows, so not that really that big of a
well,
deal.
the Doctor throughout most of the tenure of Doctor Who, especially the classic Doctor Who, was really an asexual character. There was nothing sexual about him. They changed that. They've changed that a lot in the new Doctor Who. Sometimes I think too much so, but
Well,
I feel like they
we
did things just to for the sake of doing it rather than making any kind of narrative sense. So
yes. So we began this show, well, our pre-show before we came live, with a little bit of hoo hoo hoo, and we're ending it with a little bit of hoo hoo hoo. so, so with that note, we're gonna say
Hooty
goodnight.
hoo.
We appreciate everybody that watched, and if you catch us later, thanks for watching it later. We'll try and be back each and every Saturday. We might switch it to Sunday mornings, maybe.
And
But we're not
record
100%
and
sure.
post it somewhere else at
Yeah, and
another
then
time.
yes, record and post. So we may not be going live forever, but we're toiling with that because Saturday nights are a long night. And some of us are tired and got other things that we're doing. So,
and as they
Facts.
like to say, Saturday night's all right for fighting.
yes, fight night. Friday night fight night. They changed that TNT or whatever station had freaking UFC for a while. They changed it to Friday night fight night. But anyways,
Yeah.
Anyway.
regardless. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all of you, and we really